Hello everybody, it's Mark here from Callroute and I'm back with another monthly update about what we've been up to in the Callroute portal in this month. This month being a shorter month, it's been relatively quiet in terms of features, but nevertheless we've been working hard in the background preparing for a big payload that will be coming in March that hopefully will excite some of our customers. But nevertheless, we have been busy this month and we have released a couple of little features and one large feature that you could benefit from if you're using our Orto Pro package. So the first feature that we've released, and it's really just a visual representation in the UI, is that on the team service admin, we have a new button up here called Actions, which when you expand, you can now synchronize all your Microsoft licenses, your policies in Teams, your Teams group, your Teams in Teams, and your call queues. And previously, you would have to go to each of these tabs over here and individually click the Sync Policies button in each of these tabs to bring in these new changes. These are still absolutely necessary, and if you have purchased a new license, for instance, and you want to just bring that into Callroute and you don't want to do a full sync, you can come in here and you can still select the sync licenses, or you can select the sync licenses from the drop down. You'll notice here that we have a button now that says sync all Microsoft assets. So what that will do is that it will do sync all these assets in one go, in one task, so that you press one button and it essentially synchronize 5 different items, including doing a user sync at the very end as well to bring in any changes for number assignments and what have you. So hopefully that will be of benefit and ease of use and a continued easy use of the portal. What will happen over the next 4 weeks or so when we come to do the next release is that the sync users button here will disappear and the actions button will come down here and replace the sync users. But when you click on the actions button, the sync users will be the first item that you see. So yes, it is one extra click, but we're fighting for some screen space now with all the features that we're bringing in. So sometimes we do have to make some tough decisions. But hopefully it won't be too inconvenient for you when that change comes in. The other items that we have brought in on the number management side of things. So in our last update in January, we spoke about the locations feature and the ability to add numbers to a location. Well, now I'm happy to say that we've brought in some bulk assignment capability so that you don't have to go into a number range and individually select numbers to assign to locations. Now you have these two features here, which you can bulk select numbers to assign to a location and then update them to the location that you want to. And also you can give them a description as well, a bulk description. So you can apply the standard description across all of those numbers as well and assign them to Southampton or whatever location that you want. So that should be easier for you to categorize your numbers moving forward. Now, the biggest feature in the release that we have this month is in the auto provisioning tab on the functions and features. So previously what would happen with the auto provision is that when we look at a user in your Enter ID directory, we would match that user against one particular rule and we would provision that user against that rule. Once that experience had been delivered, we would stop provisioning, stop processing rules for that user, even if they could potentially match users further down the rule priority table. This is all very well and good, but sometimes it can lead to more administrative effort in setting up the rules and what have you, and managing them and creating all the constituent components as well, such as the personas and license groups associated, and a lot of double handling where two different or multiple types of users have similar experiences, but they only deviate a little bit in whether one section has a phone number, the other section doesn't, etc. So what we've done is we've brought in a new feature that allows you to cascade rules or users through different rules, so you can build iterative experiences using a common configuration, so that what you can do here is that you can build an automation and you can target a wide demographic of users. Let's say you were targeting all users in the location of country, for instance, and you were targeting all users in the UK, and we could say GB base rule, for instance. And let's say now that for everybody who matches the UK, the GB country, we're going to assign them a license, or a particular license group that contains the base licensing for every user, no matter who they are and what job they do in your organization. And let's say we're also going to assign them a default persona as well, which contains the standard policies that we're going to apply to that user experience. And maybe we're going to add them to some company-wide teams, for instance, that they need, whether it be HR, training, or other collaboration teams that you want to add them to day one. And then you can then check this box down here that says allow this rule to cascade with other rules, and it would help if I'd hit save on that, but never mind. Let me go and rectify that here and hit save. So what will happen when we just built this rule, that anybody who matches the country GB is going to get that experience. But then we want to go and look at, well, what happens if a user is joined and they're going to be in the finance team? What else can we do? So we can build another automation that says, right, anybody who's in the finance team, there we go, problem spelling today. We're going to uplift them, uplift their config to be more. So we can say department equals finance. And then in here we could say, well, actually, if you work in the finance department, you're going to have Teams Phone on top of your base licenses. And maybe you're going to have shared calling for Microsoft Teams. And maybe we're going to add you to the finance teams in Teams as a member. And maybe we're going to add you to a call queue group if we need to. And then we can click this rule that says cascade with other rules. And we just need to make sure that this priority here is 2, so that it saves underneath the base rule here. So we've got this rule here. So what will happen now if I have a user who is in the UK, who works in the Department of Finance, we're going to bundle together the GB base rules and the finance rules together and apply that experience to them in one go. And then you can branch off different rules for different departments and start to really build more granular provisioning rules using overall less rules in your rule table. So hopefully that will be of benefit to you if you're using Orto Pro, and it really gives you the flexibility to create some quite complex provisioning flows based on your individual and departmental needs. Now, in terms of everything else that's been happening, we do have a few minor features that's not really worth showing in this episode update, but we do have the provisioning API, and the provisioning API allows you to use your own scripts to bulk migrate users into Teams, applying the provisioning rules or integrating with your ITSM service desk. So what you can do is that you can build your provisioning rules here for your experiences, and if you can't use your Active Directory for automatic assignment, or maybe you have an approval process that you need to follow before you can enable a user in Teams for a particular feature like phone, you can use the API to supply us with the username, and the rule ID that you want to provision against, so you can target specific rules. So if you don't want to use conditions, you just want to build those standard experiences up, and because you know what rule is required for that particular user, you could specify that rule in the API request and provision against the rules. So for instance, you could supply John Doe at domain.com and provision against sales assistance provisioning rule, for instance, or finance, etc. Alternatively, you can provide the attributes as well, so we can do the condition matches as well, so you can supply that in the body. Now, I was hoping to release Microsoft Single Sign-On this month, but we're just probably a week to a week and a half away of releasing that feature now. To give you a sneak peek, because it's going to be a big change and a culture change really for existing users who want to use Single Sign-On, then what's going to happen is, if I show you the staging site, for instance, is our login screen will change here, and you'll have two options to sign in with Callroute and sign in with Microsoft credentials. Now, there will be documentation published in advance of how this will work, and you should check out our knowledge base article. So I'm aware that some of our customers have been asking, well, can we be more upfront with what we're planning to deliver? And often that is hard for us to do because we build back end to front end rather than front end to back end. So often the visual element of what we're building comes very late in the development cycle, so that when we get to the end of our development sprint and when we do our quality assurance and get to the point of release, there really isn't much time between quality assurance and release, because we operate a continuous release cycle rather than bundling up a load of features, a load of bug fixes and saying we're going to do a release every quarter. We don't, we do a release every 2 weeks. So sometimes it's really quite difficult to be ultra proactive in communicating that with you, but we do have ways in which you can stay up to date. So the way to stay up to date with everything is that you can come to our knowledge base website, where there's a link on our main website in the footer, or go to help.callroute.com to come directly to here. And in here under the release notes, we have a section that explains how we release and why we release in a certain way, when we release it, what our maintenance window is, how we notify you, how we approach emergency maintenance situations, and also how to keep up to date with what's happening. We also have a public roadmap as well on our website, so callroute.com/roadmap. And this will list all the features that we're currently working on in the space of the next 4 to 8 weeks. The roadmap really doesn't go the public roadmap really doesn't go anywhere beyond 8 weeks. That's simply because the rate of development and sometimes the directions and what we need to focus our energies on change quite a lot. So we want to be realistic in what we're saying we're delivering and what we're saying we're working on. So the public roadmap is around about 8 weeks in duration. We do have a private roadmap that is much more granular and much longer than that, but we don't want to overcommit to you and then for us to let you down by bumping some features further down the roadmap. So you can come onto our website and you can read the really high level or the big ticket item features that we're working on, what we've got planned here. So we can see here that we've got Microsoft Single Sign-On, and it's currently in development, and we were hoping to release it this month, but like I say, it's going to be delayed by about a week and a half or so. But it gives you the description of what we're intending to do in that feature and what benefit that's going to bring to you. And we also have the plan status that these are the features that we have spent some time developing in terms of the idea of what we need to do, how we need to change stuff, and we're just giving you forewarning that these features will come. More information will be provided as we get closer to release, and you can check what features have been released by looking for the released status as well. So you can also search or filter, by released features as well. Going back to our release notes, so obviously we've got this here which explains a little bit about how we release, but then every month we create a release notes for that month, and we will document what changes have happened in that in that month. And because we do a release every 2 weeks, roughly speaking, this page gets updated twice a month. So one midway through the month and then another update at the end of the month. So you should really come to this site and read about what we've been up to, check the roadmap to understand what we're working on, so that you can be forearmed and forewarned of things that are coming your way. So with that, this is the end of February's product briefing. I hope you found it valuable. I'll be back in March with another update, and maybe a mid-March update when we've got the single sign-on released, so I can show you how to set that up, how to manage it, and how to get your users using Microsoft identities. So thank you very much for listening, and I'll catch you next month.